Just a heads up to you folks sitting with a notebook and pen, Mishki, the new podcast here in Garage Logic Land, is now coming out twice a week, Wednesdays and Fridays. If you're in fact scribbling this down, Wednesday is kind of tough to spell. It's not like it sounds. You want to spell it W-E-N-Z, but that, of course, would be a mistake. Friday is spelled just like it sounds. You're going to be okay there, but Wednesday's a bugaboo. Let me tell you, people, just a pain in the patootie. Jeez, it's hard.
This is the Weekly Scramble, a place where we chat about life over a cold one or two. It's time to belly up to the pod with Mike Fratelloni and your host, Chris Reavers.
That's right. It's time for the Weekly Scramble podcast. My name is Chris Reavers. With me, as always, his name is Mike Fratelloni. Hello, Michael.
How you doing, Reavers?
I'm doing well. And for those of you watching us on our YouTube channel, no, I am not trying to be Top Gun Maverick. I forgot my glasses today, and so what I have to do, I've had such a horrible headache since I walked into this building at 10 a.m. because I'm blind as a bat, and I thought, you know what, to hell with it. I'm just, because these are prescription, and I thought, I'm just putting them on. I don't care. Can't see.
I'm not going to lie. You look kind of cool, like maybe this is,
wait a minute.
You don't wear hats, right? You shouldn't wear hats.
So you're thinking, is this the new look?
No, that's too Unabomber-ish.
Okay, you're right. You're right. Okay.
That looks like you're trying too much, but there, you got a good head of hair, right? You got the glasses. I'd go ahead and keep it. Check us out on YouTube if you really want to see it. Wasn't there an error that we were doing on YouTube? Why? What did people see when they went to YouTube? Let's do a little bit of housekeeping.
Okay.
Like if you went and looked up our YouTube, often you just got the audio version.
Oh,
but we're recording this.
Yes,
this
we
is
are.
Recorded.
Yes.
Do you want to explain that to everybody?
So we have now a YouTube/video component to most of the shows in the ever expanding and vast Garage Logic network of podcasts, and you and I we're the last ones to get the video component because of graphics and sponsorships and things like that. And so we finally had that established, a couple months ago, 3 months ago, something like that. And so for the longest time, you were basically just seeing the video version of our show, or the audio version of our show on YouTube.
Which sucked. To be perfectly frank, if you're playing YouTube and all it's doing is playing audio,
then you're out.
That sucks.
Yeah, right, exactly.
We had like 80 listeners. Then we put up a video where people can see how handsome you are. People can see that I'm maybe missing some genetic material that would make me better looking, right? Yeah. But they can see us, and then all of a sudden our numbers start to skyrocket.
Yes.
Right?
And I know I'm going to begin the show today with kind of a heavy topic, so let me do this. Let me talk about our friends at We Are Nuts and WeAreNutsMN.com, because right now, through the end of the month of September, We Are Nuts is going to be on sale at all Kowalski's Markets and Lunds and Byerly's. Ooh. That's right, 25% off at those locations. And you got to find the display at all Lunds and Byerly's and Kowalski's Markets, but you can also see them at Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores. You can see them at Max Hardware, but you can also find them online at WeAreNutsMN.com. I've got to make a run. In fact, I'm going to stop at Fratelloni's on my way here today because the boys woofed down the last 2 containers of the cinnamon toffee peanuts.
Well done.
So I'm plumb out. I have no containers left after this past weekend. I got to make a stop. So it's the best snacks made right here in the great city of Minneapolis, Minnesota. They're a wonderful family-run operation. It's been an unbelievable partnership with our friends at We Are Nuts.
Absolutely. Well, you make sure, do us this little favor. If you're a fan of this show, and I think people like us. If you're listening to the show, you're like us. I don't mean you like us. I mean you're like us, right? We're like-minded people.
Yep.
You might like us too. When you walk in and you buy some We Are Nuts someplace, whether you get it at Kowalski's or Fratelloni's or Max or Lunds and Byerly's, say, I heard about it on the Weekly Scramble. That's all you have to say.
Yeah.
Right? And just say that, or I heard about it on Garage Logic, because that gets back to the retailer, and the retailer says, oh, whatever advertising you're doing, We Are Nuts, it's working. And I know it's working at Fratelloni's. Our numbers from last month are crazy big. Our numbers so far this month on We Are Nuts, for some reason, I always look at the numbers of this because, it's our show and we have them at our stores, and we're just really, really cool. It's been really, really great. I love the fact that our brand ambassadors, people going into Fratelloni stores or any store that carries it and take a picture of it and they're posting it online. I think that's totally great.
Yep. So the story I want to start with is not a good story. It's a very troubling story. And I think it's really important that you and I bring this up because when I saw this story, I was so angry at what our society has become. Let me just get this out of my system here. Dateline Charlotte. North Carolina Governor Josh Stein said today that he was appalled by the unprovoked murder of a Ukrainian woman on Charlotte's light rail system late last month, with the recent release of the attack on video causing outrage nationwide. Quote, I am heartbroken for the family of Iryna Zarutska, who lost their loved one to this senseless act of violence, and I am appalled by the footage of her murder. We need more cops on the beat to keep people safe, Stein said in a statement today. Zarutska, 23 years old, was fatally stabbed on August 22nd, just before 10 p.m. while riding the Lynx Blue Line in Charlotte, according to an affidavit obtained by ABC News. According to that affidavit, Zarutska boarded the train and sat in an aisle seat directly in front of the suspect, 34-year-old DeCarlos Brown Jr. DeCarlos Brown Jr., who was seen in a window seat wearing an orange sweatshirt. The train travels for approximately 4.5 minutes before the suspect pulls a knife out of his pocket, unfolds the knife, pauses, then stands up and strikes at the victim 3 times. Prior to the stabbing, there appeared to be no interaction between the victim and the defendant, the affidavit said. Let me pause for a moment. If you've seen the video, I share your sentiment because it was one of the most horrific things I've seen. If you haven't seen the video, don't watch it.
Don't watch it. You don't want to have that thought in your head about what people can do to other people.
Zarutska, who was pronounced dead at the scene, and a witness directed officials to the location of the suspect, the affidavit said. Brown was arrested after he was released from the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries sustained at the time of the incident and was charged with first-degree murder, according to the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. The 34-year-old suspect has a criminal record, including larceny and breaking and entering charges. He also spent 5 years in prison for robbery with a dangerous weapon starting in 2015, according to the North Carolina Department of Adult Correction. Brown's next court appearance is scheduled for September 19th. According to court records, it's unclear whether Brown has an attorney to speak on his behalf. Charlotte Mayor Vi Lyles said that the murder was a senseless and tragic loss, and Lyles' prayers remain with her loved ones as they continue to grieve through an unimaginable time. Like so many of you, I'm heartbroken, and I've been thinking about hard what safety really looks like in our city. I remain committed to doing all we can do to protect our residents and ensure Charlotte is a place where everyone feels safe, she said in a statement. I'm going to stop you right there, Mayor Lyles, because that's not what you said initially until you saw the national outrage. What you said initially was you were basically running cover for this career criminal thug who had no business being in the public spectrum whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And the people like you and the judges who continue to go soft on crime, you are the threat to public safety, not these guys. These guys are just bad people that should not be roaming amongst us. Sure. And I'm so sick and freaking tired of excuses being made for, well, they just have a mental illness. Because that's what this mayor said initially.
Sure.
Well, we need to treat people that have a mental disorder. No, you need to lock these people up. Oh, we don't have enough room in prisons. Then build more freaking prisons. I'm sick and tired of feeling like the law-abiding citizens of this country replace the word Charlotte with Minneapolis. Mm-hmm. It's the same goddamn thing. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I should not have said that. Grandma, I apologize. Please forgive me. She always hated it when I said when I'd say that. Sorry, I'm all worked up. But that's the problem. Here's a beautiful 23-year-old girl who left Ukraine for safety reasons. And what happens to her? She gets murdered on a freaking light rail in Charlotte.
By a true person with mental illness. Reavers, I looked a little bit more at a reporter from WSOC TV, Joe Bruno, after speaking with Brown's mother. Brown is the man who killed this girl.
The murdering thug.
The murdering thug. But it gets deeper than that. And let me go someplace with this. She said that she had Brown, her son, evaluated when he started to be more aggressive after his release from his armed robbery charge. Brown's mother got an involuntary commitment order from the courts, and Brown was later diagnosed with schizophrenia, which is a horrible disease. I added that part. After being placed under psychiatric monitoring, she said that he became homeless after she kicked him out of her home for becoming too aggressive. Bruno wrote, this is the writer, Brown's mom says the court should have never let her son out in the community knowing he had mental health issues and previous arrests. Here's where I'm going with that. I get he's mentally ill. severely mentally ill. He's a deranged, mentally ill person who's highly aggressive and dangerous. He's been in and out of trouble for many, many years. Yep. His own mother says he should never been in the public. What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Why are we allowing a severe, mentally ill, dangerous lunatic to roam among us? I don't know. I'm not saying he has to go to prison. I'm not saying, he has to go to prison now, right? In fact, he's too much of a lunatic. He should go to an insane asylum is where he should go, right? And let me restate that. I don't know what the hell he is, right? If there was a death penalty 100%. For someone like this, I'd probably be fine with it, right?
I know exactly what you're trying to say.
Why, but I'm driving down Snelling in Roseville, Minnesota, and I see lunatics, like severely mentally challenged people, standing in the middle of the highway begging. I'm like, why are we allowing these people to live so tragically, and then what's happening to them bleeds over everyone in the community? Why are we saying it's okay, lunatic, for you to harass people? It's okay for you to rob people. It's okay for you to do this. Why can't we involuntarily put them in, like maybe, we'll voluntarily do it. They'll involuntarily go. They won't have a choice. I know that's tough because I don't want to have someone do that to me. I don't want to have someone do that to you. But when you're insane and dangerous and your own mother says he should not be out in the community, he should not be out in the community. We should be able to take people like that, put them somewhere like we did in the 80s and the 70s and the 60s, and keep them out of normal society so 23-year-old blondes from Ukraine don't get stabbed in the neck by some psychopath.
You know what also made me really angry about this, Mike, is not the fact that this woman sought refuge in this country to try to provide herself a better life and out of harm's way because, Lord knows what might have happened to her in Ukraine, but the fact that here she was, it looked like she was leaving a job of some type because it looked like she was wearing some type of work uniform, of like a fast food. I'm not exactly sure, but it looked like she was leaving work. She was just trying to get back to wherever she was residing at the time. But the part that really made me upset is this happened on August 22nd. And I saw this for the first time yesterday. I don't know when you first saw it, but I saw it for the first. And normally on the weekends, I try to unplug. So maybe it was available late Friday, early Saturday. I don't know. But the fact that this happened on August 22nd, and I'm just reading, and I consume news more than the average individual because of my job.
Sure.
And I saw it for the first time yesterday. So number one, that's a problem. That this wasn't instantaneously known, and the fact that this guy was arrested.
Why do you think that is? Why? Okay,
that's where I'm going. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I'm wondering where you're going.
Here's where I'm going. Do you remember the name Daniel Perry?
Yeah, I do.
Do you remember that story?
I do, where he subdued a mentally ill man, and the man ended up dying. Daniel Perry did not know he killed him, right? But he ended up accidentally killing him, not attempting to kill him.
Well, this was in 2020, Michael. And when that happened, it was instantly made available online. There was instant nationwide outrage.
He was arrested
protest.
for killing
He was
him.
arrested. He was eventually pardoned. The problem is there's a set of agenda with the news cycle, and it's really starting to piss me off. Because, again, this didn't fit the description that the classic legacy media nationwide likes to cover. No, this was just a sweet, innocent girl leaving her job, and she was brutally murdered. And I'm not saying people aren't mad about this. There are people that are mad about this. I'm saying the way that this is covered is a freaking problem. Because that story, Daniel Perry, it was on the front of every freaking publication for weeks and weeks and weeks.
You're saying this is a color-based
I'm
story.
not even saying race has something to do. Well, I guess I might be saying
Daniel Perry was a white guy. The person that he subdued, I think, was African American.
So it fit a narrative.
Okay, so here's my supposition. I keep using that word. I'm going to try not to say it anymore. But
Go ahead. No, do it.
I don't believe that African Americans want to get stabbed in the neck on the light rail either. I don't think they want to do it. They don't want to have psychopaths destroying their lives either, right? The simple fact is the media just doesn't talk about it. They're just not talking about it. This isn't a race issue. This is mentally ill people are roaming among us. When I get onto a train, I remember going to New York, and some guys got on a train and they were doing this drum beat thing, and they were hanging from the thing, and they were walking around trying to get money. And I thought every one of them should have been arrested. Every one of them should have had their asses thrown in jail. It's it's not their job to entertain me on the GD train.
Right.
They should shut up, sit down, and not panhandle in the train that I can't get off of, right? Why do we let people do that stuff? Why do we do it? Black, white, green, red, blue, whatever. Who cares? Why are we letting the insane take over for everyone else?
It's a behavioral issue. And again, I'll say this. You and I, we were both at the Gopher football game a week and a half ago, right? Thursday night. I parked here. I took the light rail with my two boys, 13 and 10, right?
Yep.
And going to the game, we actually rode with a bunch of nice older Gopher fans. They couldn't have been sweeter.
Sure.
It was great. Coming back, we left a little bit after halftime. And I said, all right, boys, let's take the train. Let's beat the traffic and let's get out of here. We can listen to the game on the radio. Shout out to Mike Grimm. We can listen to the game on the radio on the way home. And there was very few people on the train at whatever time that would have been, 9:30-ish, maybe whatever.
Sure.
And I remember the boys sat down. And again, I'm a guy that had an incident on the light rail here.
Yeah, you did, yep.
And I was very public about that on Garage Logic and on our show as well. And my head was on a swivel the whole time. There weren't many people on there, but my boys were sitting in next to each other, and I'm standing. And there was two gentlemen that were sitting a couple rows behind. And I'm like, no, I'm going to stand right here, and I'm staring right at you the whole time.
Yep.
Because I don't know what you're going to do. And then, of course, there was a guy that got on the next stop and stood right next to my two kids. And I thought, all right. And I looked at my oldest son. I said, buddy, hold this. And he knew, oh, dad means business, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, why?
Why?
Why do I have to do that?
Why do I have to deal with this? I took the light rail.
And again, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
And I'm not trying to say that I'm worried that everybody's trying to. That's not what I'm saying whatsoever. But what I am trying to say is it's ever present in my mind. That's all I'm thinking about. And why? Because I constantly read crap like this every single day, and it breaks my heart that the city I love is turning into a giant crap hole.
It could be cleaned up instantaneously,
Sure.
Reavers. So when you hop on the light rail, like I did coming back from a Gopher game years ago, I took it into downtown St. Paul, grabbed my car, and went home. Totally fine. It packed solid, right? And then one guy singing at the top of his lungs. Well, the police should come in and say, hey, get up. You're off the train. We're going to bring you in for a 72-hour hold because something's wrong with you. And this guy was severely mentally ill.
Sure.
Right? Why? I don't want to sound non-sympathetic. Right? Mental illness is a horrible situation. It's a horrible situation. But for the grace of God, I'm not mentally ill, or my children are mentally ill, or they haven't become mentally ill. I don't even know how it happens. But why are we letting them dictate what happens out in society? It's bullshit. Get your ass off the side of the road when you have no shirt on. Oh, now you have no pants on, begging for money. All my kids are rolling up their windows as fast as they can. Pick these people up, get them somewhere safe for them to get help. Out in the public and on the rails is not where they do it.
It's almost the same thing where you look at how the people that are either covering the news or reacting to the news in Washington, D.C., right? Here, again, people thought what President Trump decided to do was controversial. I work with guys that thought that this was a bad idea. And I said, well, wait a minute here. What if the end result is just to merely clean up the city? What if the end result is to, hey, do the residents have an issue with this? Does the poorest parts of Washington, D.C., do you know what they want? Crime-free streets.
Of course they do.
So if this is the end result of that, what's the freaking problem? Those that are opposed to this, because you saw the protests in D.C. and California and Chicago, and I'm thinking, you are just a bunch of pandering, crybaby, white liberals that don't understand what the real freaking problem is. And it's, again, I try not to cascade a blanket statement over, but it's like, what is the problem with this? We have a crime problem in this country, especially as it relates to the country's tallest buildings. What is the problem of trying something different? Because go up to any police officer in any large city, and what are they going to tell you? We don't have enough manpower or women power or whatever the case is. We just don't have enough help. So if we're going to supply them with help, what's the problem? It's bad optics because we've military. So what? We have, but here's the thing.
It could be a slippery slope.
Okay, but we have a problem in this country and it needs to be fixed.
Sure.
Okay, do you think the family of this poor woman in Charlotte wouldn't have appreciated? In fact, the governor even said a about this light rail transit system in Charlotte. We just don't have enough security on here. Well, that's a problem. That's a problem because, like you said, these lunatics are roaming amongst us.
So here's a conundrum.
God, I didn't think I was going to get this worked up.
Yeah, everyone who says Black Lives Matter, that really believes Black Lives Matter, wouldn't you want the military to come in and help Chicago? So 6 more people didn't die this weekend and 16 others got shot, or 46 got shot, or whatever. You would think, oh my gosh, African Americans are dying at an alarming rate in this town. If we were to let the federal government come in and just post them up and say, hey, we're here to chill things out, right? I mean, in Washington, D.C., murder stopped for a few days, right? It stopped. No one was killed for a few days in Washington, D.C. after we did that. That being said, Reavers, I don't like federal police state. I don't want the federal police in Minnesota. I don't want them in Chicago. I don't want them in cities. D.C., okay, that's a District of Columbia. That's not a state. That's run by the federal government. It's not run by local governments. Local governments can make better decisions. So if Mayor Adams from Chicago said, hey, we need some help.
Johnson.
Excuse me, Johnson. Sorry.
Yep.
If Mayor Johnson in Chicago said, we need some help, and we brought in some other force, somebody else to help, I would much rather see that, because I am getting really skeptical of people. And my brain says, what if somebody's saying, let's put federal forces all over the United States to lower this crime problem. I want lower crime. I don't want federal forces all over the United States. I don't like that thought. That scares me a little bit.
Well, funny you bring up Mayor Adams accidentally, because that was my next topic.
Okay, let's go.
Are you ready?
I am.
New York City, Michael, has lost its bleeping mind. Mayor Adams has elevated Muhammad's birthday to holiday status in New York City. That's right. Just days before the anniversary of 9/11, the deadliest Islamic terror attack on American soil, New York City has surrendered itself to Islam. At City Hall, Mayor Eric Adams presided over a celebration of the Prophet Muhammad, the exact figure invoked by the 9/11 hijackers. While activists today falsely portray him as a champion of peace, history records reveal a very different figure. What in the hell is going on?
We have that here. So when Mayor Fry gets up and gives a speech in Somalian, I assume that's the language he's speaking. I don't even know if that's the language.
That's Arabic, isn't it? Arabic.
Is he speaking Arabic?
You know what? Let me look that up.
I'm so uneducated, Reavers. I'm too stupid to have a podcast. But let me just say this one thing.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard. Let me just say this. Do you think he gains one person? Do you think he gets one Somali vote because he does that? If he thinks he does, he is stupid, because no one gives a crap about a guy saying a few words in their native culture when he's not of their native culture. He will not get one additional vote because he stood up and pandered that way.
The official languages of Somalia are Somali and Arabic, as specified in the Constitution.
We were both right.
Somali, the endoglossic language of Somalia, is the most widely spoken language in the country, with Northern Standard Somali as the most widely spoken dialect of the language at around 60% of the population, followed by May Somali at 20%. And 18% is Arabic, is used primarily in religious practice and education.
Okay, so my point is that Mayor Eric Adams is saying, I need to try to get another 3% of the vote. So I'm going to go after, and I'm going to say, Muhammad, this is a day of peace. I'm going to do all this. He thinks that the people that he's going after are going to vote for him. They won't care.
Right.
Somalis are never going to vote in mass over a Somali person for Mayor Fry. It isn't going to happen. You know what Mayor Fry could do? He could come out and say, I'm still a Democrat. I have a bunch of Democrat values, but we really need to pull some Republican views in, and he'd be better off just pandering to Republicans, kissing our ass, saying everybody should get boats. Let's get boats on these lakes.
I quite literally said to Joe, when it was announced that Omar Fateh had won the Democratic endorsement, I said, Fry needs to get in front of as many cameras as he can and say, my number one focus right now is to reduce crime in the city.
All I have to do is reduce crime.
I want to reduce. I want to find a way to reduce crime. I want to help the police as much as I can. And oh, by the way, we cannot lose any more businesses in this city because everyone's property taxes continue to skyrocket.
If you didn't have crime,
year.
you wouldn't lose businesses.
That's just it, point blank. Yeah. And I think that would resonate way more with the average, everyday Minneapolis resident than all of this other nonsensical garbage that keeps coming up.
Want crime? You know who doesn't want it?
Me.
Every single person.
Yeah.
Anybody who's trying to tell you that, they're doing it, they like crime, they want it to be Gotham, they're full of shit. They don't know. I don't care if you're Somali, I don't care if you're Irish, I don't care what you are. If you're sitting there in seven corners of Minneapolis and you have a little daughter and you're going to work and your wife is upstairs in your apartment, do you want crime? Absolutely not. You want to live in peace.
So, yep.
Everybody wants to live in peace. So I don't know what these guys are thinking. I don't know where Eric Adams is thinking. I don't know what Mayor Fry is. I still need to get Mayor Fry on this show. We need to ask him, say, hey, Mayor Fry, first of all, have you ever been on a boat? If you've never been on a boat, we're probably not simpatico. Right? I mean, it just seems like I go back to that one funny video. Remember those two liberal girls were saying the worst thing about being liberal is no one has a boat?
Oh, yeah.
And I think about that all the time because it is 100% true. Has nothing to do with economics. There's plenty of rich liberals and there's plenty of rich Republicans. It has to do with just a state of mind.
Yep.
And these two girls are saying, I cannot believe that we don't have friends that have boats. I in fact, every time I get on a boat, I want to wear my United States flag swimsuit and I drink Bud Light and I really love Budweiser and I really love it. And they have a little bit of that American dream feeling. I hope these candidates figure it out. I hope truly mentally ill individuals get the help they need. And the help they need is not getting them white socks, getting them a better tent, or getting them heaters for their homeless encampment. Better help is getting them into the system and saying, you're going to be here for a while before you let you out. Just like this mother of this schizophrenic nutcase.
Right.
The mother said he should never have been out in public. I knew he was going to do this to somebody.
Can I interest you in drastically changing topics?
Please.
Because I want you to bring up the story in something that I partake in pretty much every year. And those of you that listen to the show may or may not, but I started a fantasy football league with my family just a couple of years ago. So it's a way for all of us to kind of interact. And even, last night we were watching the thrilling Bills-Ravens game last night, and we're jumping up and down because it's so much fun. And obviously my oldest son is a huge Bills fan. And so you came across an interesting story relating to fantasy football.
So I was trying to look up, embarrassing stories of what guys make their fantasy football losers.
Oh, my God.
Their league losers. Have you heard some good stories about this?
Well, I can tell you, I was for, almost 20 years involved in a very expensive, but very fun, competitive fantasy football league with a bunch of my college buddies, right? And it was kind of a way for all of us to kind of stay connected and give each other crap, on a given week and whatnot. And every year, the person that finished in last place had to come to the following year's draft dressed up in the outfit in which the champion got to select.
Oh, okay.
So I'll just put it bluntly.
All right.
1 year, my good buddy Ryan, he won the league. In fact, he beat me in the fantasy championship.
Sure.
And it was financially beneficial to both of us, but obviously it would have been better had I won. And he selected for our friend Jim, who finished last that year, a T-shirt that he designed, and he had to wear a thong. And keep in mind, we typically have this draft at an establishment.
Sure.
So because we're all over the place. I mean, these are buddies of mine that we all went to school together, but now we're all over the country, right? And so it's usually like at a restaurant, or in some cases, somebody might just host it at their house, but we stopped hosting at houses because sometimes it gets out of hand.
A little rowdy.
And so we would have to go to a restaurant or whatever. That's usually where it started, and then we would kind of migrate to wherever else the night would take us. And so he had to wear a Speedo thong, and he had a cut-off midriff T-shirt with a design on it that may have reflected the male anatomy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
okay.
So it's a super nice touch. And then he's got to pose for pictures and things like that. So yes, I'm very aware at these various bets.
So
and
a
how
lot
they
of
take
full
place.
body chicken suits, the tattoo or henna of shame. Have you heard of that one?
Oh, yeah.
Where they make someone get a tattoo of the winner of the league's name,
Yeah.
or a henna tattoo, but I like the permanent tattoo. You have to be the wait staff. This one's kind of nice. You have to be the wait staff for the entire Super Bowl party of that year, right? If you lose, you have to
that's
weigh it on
pretty
everybody else.
good.
That's actually kind of a fun one, right? You have to record a 60-second video admitting your defeat and post it on all your social medias. They all have this perform stand-up comedy about how bad you are at fantasy football in front of people at a comedy show.
We
right?
one year did that. You had to sing the national anthem into the karaoke machine at an establishment.
Okay, well, that's pretty good.
And the one guy that lost has a horrifically bad singing voice.
No.
And I ended up telling, because there was people sitting around us, and I said, and I won't reveal which friend it was, just for purposes of, and I just said, oh, this is our buddy's Make-A-Wish.
Oh, no, you did not.
100%.
You were going to hell for that.
I
You don't
know.
make fun of Make-A-Wish
Well,
kids.
because these people were mad.
Okay.
That he was doing this. They said, this is kind of like his one
this
wish.
is it.
And,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, we didn't. I go, it's okay.
He's
It's okay.
dying of embarrassment is what he was. So
I purely did it to save him, not necessarily to make fun
And I
of
know
him.
how you're really good at bars because I've been with you at bars where you're not afraid to say things. There's a couple that I want to point out that I think are really great. One is unbelievably good.
All right.
But this one, you're forced to read Kamala Harris's book, The Truths We Told, all 336 pages.
Oh, dear God.
And then you have to get up and give a speech to the group on that book. And it's run up against ChatGPT to confirm that the facts that you're giving the speech about are true.
Oof.
And so it's nonstop. You got to read the book and then go give the speech. You can't
and
stop.
you got to take notes and all that stuff.
My favorite of all, and Rivers, this is rude.
Oh, boy.
You have to go to a sperm bank. You have to make a deposit in the sperm bank. And then most importantly, you have to check the box that says, when and if this child hits 18 years old and they want to reach out to the sperm donor, is that okay? And you have to check that box. So just listen, little old Mike says, I just hit 18. I want to meet my dad. And I find Mr. Reavers. I said, Mr. Reavers, my name's Mike. You're my dad. And what do you say to that kid 18 years around? You can't say, I'm really shitty at fantasy football, son.
I would say, listen, Mikey, here's the thing. I never had the chance to meet your mom. I'm sure she's a wonderful, wonderful woman. But I just have to tell you, the fact that she and I never got the chance to meet, but I have to say that the reason that you are now here amongst us is the fact that CeeDee Lamb dropped 3 passes on Thursday Night Football and cost me a key victory in Week 17 of the Fantasy Football Championship. That's
diabolical.
That is diabolical.
That is absolutely diabolical. A lot of things would have to happen. Your sperm would have to get picked, and if you put on the
diabolical, I'm going to suggest this for
your fantasy league, right? And you'd have to put on there, I lost my fantasy league, and then hopefully women looking for great sperm donors would say, I don't want to be associated with a loser, so hopefully your sperm doesn't even get used.
Wow.
Right? All I know, Reavers, is last night I dreamt I was a muffler.
Oh.
And I woke up exhausted.
Oh, for God's sake.
Reavers, you are the best.
Wow.
Sorry, that was dumb. Didn't have a lot of time.
Please do us a favor, rate and review the show wherever you happen to be listening to the Weekly Scramble podcast. It helps other people find the show, and it helps us out as well, and we appreciate each and every single one of you. His name is Mike Fratelloni. My name is Chris Reavers. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll talk to you again next time, and until then, cheers.